So what are the different types of crimes? Really, where do I start? There are so many different types of offences, from the really, really minor offences at the one end of the scale to really very serious offences that we hear about in the media. But there's a lot of offences in between actually. And different criminal offences are categorised by they're put into three different categories really. Summary-only offences, either-way offences, and indictable-only offences. So if I break this down for you, a summary-only offence is an offence that can only be heard if charged in the magistrate's court. Now, that means that it's at the lower end of the scale of offences, but it still might be quite serious for you. There might be a case where you're accused of harassment, for example, which in and of itself is actually an either-way offence, but it might be that that case is heard in the magistrate's court, and some people think, well, it really isn't very serious then. Well, actually, some of these offences can be categorised as domestic abuse offences, and it can then result to impacting your future, whether it be a new relationship with a Clare's Law application, or it might be that just that charge on your record and that conviction that's then on your record results really in quite detrimental things that go on in your future, whether it be loss of job opportunities, whether it be the involvement of social services with your children. So although it might be at the lower end of the scale of sentencing and the lower end of the scale of offences, it doesn't necessarily mean that actually it's a trivial offence, because it might be really detrimental to you. Either-way offences. Now, either-way offences are offences that can be heard either in the magistrate's court or the Crown Court. And that's where a bulk of the different offences fit within actually, whether it be sexual offences, and there's lots of different types of sexual offences, whether it be theft, whether it be burglary offences, lots of them sit within that middle ground. Now, it might be, if you're going to trial, that your trial is heard in the magistrate's court. However, the magistrates might not have the appropriate sentencing powers to sentence you, and therefore it might be referred up to the Crown Court. Or it might be the case that the case is automatically referred up to the Crown Court because perhaps it's too complex for the magistrates to deal with. But also, you must remember that you have the right to elect the Crown Court if you so wish. Now, if the magistrates' court believe it's beyond their jurisdiction to deal with it, they won't keep it in the magistrates' court even if you want it to stay in the magistrates' court. But if they want to keep it in the magistrates' court, but in fact you want to send it up to the Crown Court, then that's your right and you can elect that. Now we have indictable offences. Those are the most serious offences. Those are the offences I think we probably all hear about most in the media: murder, rape, and those kind of offences. So they're really very serious. And those offences are at the very highest end of the sentencing, and that's why they're in that higher category, and they can only be heard in the Crown Court. Really, sentencing is very different for all different types of offences, and in particular the types of facts in your case. Now, there's lots and lots and lots of factors that go into the types of sentences you might receive for different types of crimes. So you really need to instruct a solicitor as soon as possible in order to get that advice. You can receive different credits for early guilty pleas. So if you plead guilty at the earliest opportunity, you can receive 1/3 discount in any sentence you receive, and that reduces the closer that you get to a trial. So it's important that you instruct a solicitor at the earliest opportunity so that you can really get the benefit if you're going to plead guilty, or you have to plead guilty, to the maximum credit, because that might be the difference between custody or not. And it's really very important that you instruct a solicitor, you interview them, make sure you're happy with them, and then they can assist you in order to ensure that you get the best outcome. As always, if ever you need any advice, please do contact us and we'll fully assist you.